Ladies and gentlemen, yes, reunited and it feels so good. We have Rob GTV and it's your boy Chingo Bling. Uh, Take the wax out of your ears, people. You probably like, where the hell have these two dudes been? The bearded one and the little one are back. Before we dive in and just welcome all the new people and welcome back all the old people, just want to let y'all know, man, it is the top of the year. I am a touring comedian, right? I'm not running for political office. I'm not trying to, be a politician, nothing like that. We just have a lot of fun on this show and discuss a lot of things that are happening in today's world. But I am headed to Plano, Texas, Mic Drop Comedy Club, my first time performing at that club, first time performing in Plano. Pull up on your boy February 6th through the 8th. That's like 5 or so opportunities to come check us out live. Caldwell, Texas. I'm co-headlining with Willie Barcena, and I'm doing a music portion at the end with a live band. You don't want to miss it. February 22nd in Caldwell, Texas. New York City, I'm back March 7th at Rodney's Comedy Club. It's been years since I performed in New York City. And hey, if you're Venezuelan, ain't nobody gonna call ICE on you, dog. You're safe. Just a couple more before I let y'all go and we hop into the show, man. Mic Drop Comedy Club. Yes, they have another one. Chandler, Arizona. That's the Phoenix area. Pull up. April 17th through the 19th. It's an entire weekend. I love doing weekends because you have a chance to really like explore the town, eat the food, meet the people, and it's an awesome comedy club. You're going to have a great time April 17th through the 19th. And we'll just end it with this one. El Paso, Texas at Bart Reed's Comic Strip right there on Airway, April 24th through the 26th. Chuco Town. We got a lot to talk about. If you've never been to a Chingo Bling show, you're going to have an amazing time. We always have a fire lineup. Now, without further ado, man, it is so great to be back. My brother, as you can see, we won. You know what I'm saying? Whole lot of MAGA energy going on, big dog. And before I kick it off to you, Rob, I might be coming in a little bit hot because I still get a lot of comments, bro. Like people talk real bold and real brave behind a keyboard, forgetting I'm a blue belt.
Soon to be purple belt.
No, I ain't got no stripes yet on my blue belt, so it's gonna be a while. And I'm in no rush. Because a white belt exposed me last night in class. So unfortunately, I think some people saw and noticed, and they were like, "Oh shit." But anyway, people talk real tough, man. And of course, I always have comebacks. I'm always like, "Hey, bro, my tour schedule's public." You know what I'm saying? Like I voted for Trump. What are you gonna do about it? Like I'm Mike Tyson. What are you gonna do about it? And they're always like, chill, bro, calmao, wey. Because there's this narrative, and I just want to say this before I hand it off. There's this narrative that like people just fill in the blanks with their imagination. They just start assuming a lot. Like every time you were saying they can't deport us all, you secretly were thinking deport them all along. Like you didn't change your mind when presented with new information. You forgot who supported you. You forgot about your people. Coconut, you want to be white. The whites aren't going to accept you. You forgot who made you famous and stuff like that. So that's why I'm coming in a little bit caliente.
No, I like it. As a matter of fact, while I'm reintroducing people to the podcast, on your interface, turn it down a little bit because as you get hot,
loud.
I think you're gonna as you get really hot and cranked up, I think you're gonna
crank
it out.
Yeah,
that's actually much better.
Yeah.
As soon as you start talking that shit, it's gonna get really.
Let's test it one more time. Can I be this loud, or is that too much?
No, that's great.
Okay, perfect.
That's actually perfect. Wherever that interface is, don't change it.
Perfect.
All right, listen, if you're listening now, you're on the What Did He Said podcast feed, right? We have a whole 2.5, 3 years almost of the Biden administration on a former feed that if you were there, you know. If you weren't there, then you're kind of assuming what went on. Mm-hmm. There was a Discord. There was all kinds of communities where we kind of talked about the Biden administration, what was going on right at the peak of the pandemic and the crazy lockdowns and all that. So if you weren't there, that's unfortunate, but Chingo's got a slew of shows under the What Did You Said banner that we want people to tune into. And luckily, I got the call. I got the tap on the shoulder like, hey, man, I need you in the game again. I said, all right, say less.
Put me in, coach.
I'm back. Put me on. And the last time we posted, dude, it was the summer of 2023. You and I, like, from the end of, like, what was the initial heyday of the beginning of the podcast. Yeah. So it's been almost 2 years. This June would be 2 years.
Hey, bro, it look like you're on TRT, my boy.
Hey, you know what's up, dog?
What's up? You been hitting shoulders and traps?
all day. The Dana Lynn Bailey, get them pumpkins that Mighty Soul loves on the.
For real?
No, for real, yeah.
Yeah, you've been hitting them traps, huh? The beat.
I started working out like I was in college again. I said I can't do this. I can't decline in my mid 30s. You know, I gotta
Nah.
just go. I gotta revert back to my 20s.
Hell yeah, yeah. We got a lot to talk about, but go on. Didn't mean to interrupt.
No, not at all, man. And that's it. So Chingo hit me up. I mean, it was great. I saw that, you were still getting the backlash and the stories. Like you'd post something that was so common sense to me and a lot of people listening.
Yeah,
And then the next story would be, watch, I'm gonna lose followers. And then the third story, I told you.
yeah, it'd be like, let's deport all pedophiles, and then it's like, hey, bro, what the fuck? You got to put some bait to weed them out.
Oh, dude, and you did a great job, and you did it over and over and over, and it's honestly for the best. I mean, if those people were going to take those common sense takes that you post online offensive, I mean, they're just better off not being around.
Yeah, yeah.
So let me ask you this: we stopped in 2023. A lot of things happening. You were busy touring. I moved. We were going back and forth, and that became hard to do. So I want to know, and I'm sure people want to know, what you were thinking going up to or leading up to the election, because I had a lot of people hit me up like, hey, are you anxious, man? Do you feel this in the air? Like, and I did a little bit, but I'm going to be completely honest. I thought we had it in the bag, which might have been too silly to say at the time, but I really did feel that way.
Yeah, like you knew it was going to be a landslide.
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I felt good. The only thing that I was concerned about was people cheating. You know what I mean? Like, we still haven't verified and rectified and gone in to do a forensic audit of 2020. Like that, they still got to dig up some skeletons on that one, for real. So I didn't want to get too ahead of myself and get too cocky, because I felt like the climate had shifted, and the overall zeitgeist and the Overton window, and just people kind of starting to notice these people are pushing World War III. You know, the border czar is nowhere to be found. They keep gaslighting people. Inflation out the wazoo. Everything expensive. Gas expensive. Like, almost like bait and switch. Like, did y'all realize that y'all got bamboozled into voting for 87 genders? Like, Raza, do you understand? Every time you hop in my comments calling me a coconut sellout, you're doing it on behalf of the 87 gender people. So just want to put that out there.
Did you get people in real life, like friends or immediate friends or even family, that were like it's safe to say that over the last, we'll say 8 to 10, probably more years, everything as a whole has kind of moved to the left. I'm going left, you're probably seeing the right. You know what I mean? And then slowly things kind of started, the pendulum came the other way, right? And then now that the election's come and gone, I think you have people that have not given up on the narrative they were running on, those that kind of got it and they're like, all right, maybe we need to move a little bit to the center, and then the ones that are probably on our side, more where we are, where like, we told you, we've been telling you this for years. But in real life, did you come across those people? They were like, eh.
Like, come across people that were open to being more in the center?
Yeah, that maybe didn't tell you how they voted or how they plan on voting, but you could kind of sense that, oh, you know what, maybe we were off on a couple of things.
Honestly, it doesn't really come up at all. The only thing that I will say is when you're hanging with certain people, let's just say you're hanging out with a couple comedians over a course of a few days, like, they might make comments, you know what I mean? Like, they might like show like, do you believe with these people? Or like, you know what I mean? Or they might just say some pro-Trump things, maybe just kind of let you know, they're out of the Trump closet.
Like,
okay. And on the other side of that same token, never ever in person do people say like, hey, homie, you let us down, bro. You're a disappointment because you were the tamale king, homie. Now you're the coleslaw kingpin, or you know what I mean? Like, it kind of sucks that you want to be white. Like, none of those things ever come up. And thankfully, the shows are still good. They're still packed. Obviously, there's a lot of variables. You know, you've been doing it as long as me. You're going to have ups and downs, code. There's so many variables, right? I mean, the economy is such a huge variable. So the 4 years Biden was in, you'll hear other entrepreneurs make comments like, man, boy, this shit, man, this Biden era, it ain't hitting the same. Or people that are like, not even into politics, or like not even citizens, or they might not even be pro-Trump at all. And they might say, you know what? Say what you want. My business was booming when he was in office.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, I felt it in the air. you walk outside, and of course, it sounds kind of silly to say. Like, it's not lost on me that for years, we were in the weeds of like really keeping up what was going on, listening to the debates, the conversations, pinging, ponging off of each other, and the community that we had built around RPT. So it's not lost on me. It was a bit of a vacuum from time to time, but you go out into the real world, and you did kind of just sense the air of positivity. Like people were ready to go spend some money, invest some money. Like they had a really prosperous outlook of the future, which I don't think people had prior years.
So you're referring to 2016 through 2020?
I mean, we could arguably say heydays, right? But if you just take 2020 to this past November, like you didn't feel the same sentiment. But as soon as the election hit, like right from Thanksgiving to Christmas, you were like, yes, like this lame duck period can be over fast enough. Yes,
Dude,
like January 20th, can we get there?
Bro, I was so nervous they were going to try to assassinate him again. I was just like, all right, they're going to pull a psyop, like they're going to do something with a drone. They want him to do his inauguration outdoors so bad. Got to shout out all the members of the RPT, man. Everybody that's on the Discord. It's still popping. There's still people on there. Even though we've been not uploading and just inactive on the podcasting side. But definitely want to shout out members of the TIA, the Tamales Intelligence Agency.
Are we going to have a version 2 of the TIA hats?
Yeah, we could make some stuff.
I might take it upon myself, take the liberty to design something and create it that way. It's out of Chingo's hair. He's already got so many spinning plates. I don't want to put something on him.
First of all, I ain't got no hair no more.
Hey, he's got multiple hands. He like Medusa over here spinning these different plates.
Yeah. We're working on a variety of things. And as we were about to press record, I was like literally about to go, and it's like, Pete, pay attention. Take the headphones off. Yeah, take the headphones off. Listen to me. Write it down. These are the 10 steps, and you can't miss none of them. And you got to do this and circle that and make sure this, and I got you.
Hey, so speaking of, you were out of the country for a bit, right? Have you talked about this yet?
Yeah, I was deployed, my brother.
You were deployed in action.
Yeah, deployed 2 weeks. Dude, it was such a really, really, really cool experience to be performing for the troops. We went to, let's see, first country was Qatar. Super rich country. I had flight delays and stuff, so I didn't get that extra day to explore the way the other two gentlemen did, Patrick DeGeer and Greg Morton. Very funny dudes. And so Qatar, dude, I don't know if y'all know, but like when the World Cup happened, they built like 12 or however many, 10, 15 state-of-the-art, beautiful, gorgeous architecture stadiums. They're like, we'll probably tear them down when we're done. And that's probably what America could be if we didn't have a whole bunch of drugs coming in and weirdo losers running the country and not being allowed to drill, baby drill, and everything else. But anyway, from there we went to third world country, Djibouti, hit up another base. I had a lot of fun on that base because we were there for a couple days, and I got to absorb like the soldier culture. You know what I mean? Just kind of see how they live and at that point you're eating at their the DFAC, like the chow hall, like 12 times at that point. So you're really starting to like, hey man, can I have lunch with you? And like you're starting to pick up. Now you know where to press the thing to wash your hands, and now you remember to take your hat off because you're a civilian. You can't be in there like that. So Djibouti was a lot of fun. We got to shoot like these simulation training type guns. They're like real guns, but you're not using live ammo. So a lot of the soldiers, they got to train that way first. So you're shooting like 50 cal, the M4s, which is like AR-15, pistols. I forget what they use, some type of Glock perhaps. But my accuracy and my aim, I almost got recruited. They started calling me sniper. Like they would read out the scores like, oh shit, shot 0 civilians, like shot 0 hostages, like took out bad guys at like 42 out of 45. They're like, damn, you shoot a lot? I was like, man, one time.
You play a lot of video games? No.
Yeah.
You shoot a lot? Not really. Are you having crazy fantasy, sir?
I want to play video games because I know Greg Morton, the other comedian, he's like Mr. PlayStation, and he was putting me up on a bunch of games. But anyway, it was a really cool experience, man. We got to go to Saudi Arabia. Where else? UAE, United Arab Emirates. So it's like Abu Dhabi. Like it's like right next to Dubai. mega rich. We went to Kuwait, where every Kuwaiti citizen gets a check like every month, just because they're an oil-rich country, small country, and they're considered kind of like the Sweden of the Middle East, meaning they don't really get involved in beef too much, except when Iraq tried to go in and take over, and we had to go liberate Kuwait. You know what I'm talking about? And then we were on this one highway to get to the base, and later I found out that highway was called the Highway of Death. Yeah. So they were like, yeah, when basically like when the Iraqis were trying to retreat and they were trying to escape on that highway, you know what I'm saying? America had to show them why we ain't got no health care, baby. Boom, 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 boom.
Dude, that's awesome. 2 weeks though. That's a long time.
Yeah, and the first few days I didn't really have like good phone, Wi-Fi. So, and then you're on a totally different time zone. So it's like 4 p. You have to wait till 4 p.m. to say good morning, to your family. And it just starts to kind of like weigh on you where you're like, oh man, this is going to be a long 2 weeks. And then later, once we were in like Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, once we made it to like UAE, things like that, because we went from staying in like a dorm type setup, which I did for 8 years in my life. So it was like, oh, flashback. And then in Djibouti, we were staying in these like shipping containers, basically, like little rooms carved out of a shipping container. And then we were staying in a tent in Saudi Arabia, but like a nice tent. Like it looks like a tent on the outside, but it has like walls and shit, like a TV and a little couch, beds. And so that was like not too bad, except you had to walk on gravel to go take a leak or take a shower. That was horrible. And then we were at the Crown Plaza. Then we got set up nice towards the end of the trip. Yeah, to where you're like, yo, how am I deployed? And I got a bidet. We got bit by dogs. It was a lot of cool shit we got to do.
For real or for training?
It was like you wear the suit or the sleeve.
Okay.
So yeah.
No, I thought you got chased by dogs in the alley or something.
Oh no. Every base had a couple stray dogs that would not eat the chow. They wouldn't eat the food that we were eating.
Yeah.
They knew something we didn't.
He's like, they don't know what the restrooms are like around here. That's crazy, man. I mean, so when you came back overall, is it an experience that you wanted to do for the first time because you hadn't done it, and then you would still do it, or you think you wouldn't do it again, or would you do it again?
Dude, I'm going back in August, but to Asia. So we're going to like Guam, Japan, I think maybe the Philippines or something, but because we got bases all over. We might be able to stop in Hawaii, not sure. I just hope that everything stays peaceful, because all these places that we visited in the Middle East, as we were having these discussions and having to fill out paperwork, and I had to take a anti-terrorism safety course like online, like to have a little certificate. And this is all part of the process, like all the shit I had to go through, all the hoops. I was worried that they were going to want to get me jabbed just in order to go to these countries and do these things. So I was like, hey, find out. Like I was talking to the main guy, find out before I waste y'all's time. And so yeah, to answer your question, it was something that I was a little anxious about, because I kind of didn't really know. Like I wasn't looking forward to being on like a 15-hour whatever flight. Yeah. You know what I mean? Away from the family, for that long of a time. But the way my bills are set up.
But also then you stayed away and you're like, oh, this is kind of peaceful, a little tranquil here.
Yeah. Then I get back and it's like, Daddy, Pete. And it's just like,
I can hear
shit.
Pete in the background now.
Oh, you can hear her for real?
You barely. I'm just joking.
Oh, that's crazy, because they're like downstairs, bro.
I can recognize that scream anywhere.
Yeah, they're home because they got like borderline bronchitis and an ear infection. Oof. Yeah.
Man, yeah. They got their dad's genes, obviously.
Yeah, they got my immune system for sure.
Dude, you said the dates at the beginning of the show, but do you have anything over here around Austin? Did you hear that noise come through, by the way?
Yeah, what is that?
Oh, it's fucking...
The feds?
Slack.
Oh, okay.
It's Slack projects. But no, do you have anything like around the Austin area? And if not, can we plan something?
Yeah, my wife, the wifeager, she's definitely... if that's not locked in, it's gonna be locked in. It probably is locked in, but it hasn't been added to this. I gotta just look at my planner and make sure my notes are correct. But yeah, we're gonna do Cap City. And you saw Rogan shared something of mine on the story?
Dude, yeah, tell me more about that.
It was just I woke up one day and I was looking at who all mentioned me, and I'm just like, oh, this video did well. It's a lot of people reposting this video, and
And all of a sudden,
I was like, Joe Rogan. I was like, they got a check mark next to it. I was like, this can't be the Joe Rogan. And I click on it, and it says like millions of followers and like check mark. And I was like, hold on, let me check again. Like now I'm on his page. Now I'm gonna click on his story. Like, so this is public. Like, what the fuck? So I'm just like, holy shit, thanks, dude. I don't know if he replied to that, but like it's crazy because I know a lot of people that know him. So it's always like 1 degree.
yeah,
Like
dude,
like
it's been,
like
yeah.
like for example, I hung out with Eddie Bravo and Sam Tripoli in Cancun end of last year at a Jiu-Jitsu overdose.
Yeah, I was seeing you everywhere.
That
Every
was
time the
fun.
camera panned over, you were somewhere.
Dude, that was so much fun. I got to roll with B-Mac. Yeah, I
Nice.
got to roll with B-Mac and got a they had seminars in the morning. So like Richie Martinez, the Boogeyman, Gio
Yeah.
Martinez, like they're showing you a move, and Curtis from Tempe, Austin. One of the mornings he's showing a move, so it was like heaven. It's like I'm on a resort in Cancun. You know what I mean? Like I'm watching the fights, front row, exhilarating. You know what I mean? And it's like, and then I'm performing, telling jokes, and just like all paid inclusive. You're just like eating. You're at the buffet with like Ben Eddy.
Dude, the last thing I texted BMAC was like, please make sure you get a picture with Chingo. I don't know if y'all did or didn't.
Yeah. I just got
That
one of these. Yeah.
that's cool, man. Because it's for so long, like we mentioned, like when you started doing jujitsu again, or when you really started taking it serious on the podcast, BMAC's like my go-to guy for like the philosophy of jiu-jitsu, the actual implementation of it, his instruction and all that. And I'd reference him all the time. And now just to get you to actually like to see you roll with him, learn from him, take a picture with him, was just like a cool come together kind
Yeah,
of moment.
yeah. He toyed with me like I'm a child.
Of course, he
Yeah.
toyed with me, and I'm twice his
Oh,
size. Like it's just
you
not
got to roll with him too?
yeah, I went to one of his seminars in Beaumont way back in the day, and he back then, and I don't know if he still does, but he would always hit that triangle from the top like a fucking wizard, just bah, bah,
Oh,
leg,
like
leg.
so he'd be in the
He's
mount.
on your chest.
So
Yes,
he'd be in the mount. And he'd like work his way up those.
lifts your he lifts up your head and just boom, slaps both legs under there, and then it's over. I'm like, oh, what
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah. You gonna get back into it?
No.
No, you're done.
Yeah, for now, Don. I mean, Don's still into it. The kids train all the time. They just got promoted. They got more stripes on their, I think, gray belt at this point.
What belt is done?
She's a 2-stripe blue belt, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. What are you? Just blue?
Just
or
blue,
one
no
stripe?
stripe. Blue to 0 stripes.
When did you get it? Recently, right? Thanksgiving?
Nah, I have it in my phone. It was earlier last year, maybe like
Okay.
mid last year or something.
I might as well do it on the podcast. RPT listeners will know. Congratulations. It's been a long journey to blue belt.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not a blue belt, so I have no room to talk. I'm just saying.
yeah. I mean, honestly, bro, like I really don't like because I never played actual sports. I never played team sports. I just play like in the hood. Like
Yeah.
front yard, concrete, basketball, or like, hey, football, tackle on the grass. I'm not built for football at all.
Yeah. Can
So
we play flag football, please?
yeah, for real. The way my tonsils were set up. So it was kind of like out of body experience when they're like, Pete, come up here. There's another man named Pete in the class, and he was there that day, and he like starts walking up. They're like, no, the other Pete. And I'm like, is there another Pete in here? And they're like, you motherfucker. And I go up there and I'm just kind of in shock because he's like, as he's putting the belt on me and everyone's clapping. And then my wife and the kids are over here, like they pulled up because Michelle, the owner, she texted Marisol and was like, hey, he's about to get his blue belt, pull up. And she's like, oh shit, I'm on my way. And I look over and my kids are like, Daddy. And they're putting the belt around me and I'm just like, what's happened? Like, am I dreaming?
Did I
So
get choked out?
yeah. So my point is, I don't really trip over the stripes and the colors at all. Like I'm not even like I try to detach myself completely from the idea of even picturing myself with a black belt. It's just one of those things where I'm like committed to just stick with it because I tend to quit things and like this podcast. And you know what I mean? So and it's just done so much for me to where it allows me to talk shit to people on Instagram, like these comments, like, hey, my boy, pull up. You know what I mean? Like, I voted for Trump twice. What are you gonna do about it? My tour schedule's public. As a matter of fact, what city are you in? And I'll put you on a guest list. Like you won't even have to pay for a ticket. All because I got that little blue belt.
Damn, that's hilarious. By the way, how's the guitar? Have you picked up your guitar in a while?
Nah, no. While I was overseas, I started I had a little bit of downtime sometimes because you're just like away from everything. And I just started making like this little kind of like a little to-do goals type of list, like, just simple stuff like attend a dance class with Marisol, just dumb shit that's like, oh yeah, we haven't done that in years. It's like, yeah, and it's not even that big of a deal. Like, we don't have to. Like, I don't have to learn the guitar, but it's one of those where it's like, just spend 10 minutes here and there. Like, just, like I'm in Djibouti deployed and I'm just like, writing down in my phone, like, all right, try to like, go get coffee with this person or, finish that one thing or whatever.
Are you much of a resolutioner? Like once a new year starts, you start like you just explained, kind of try to set out goals and then tackle them.
Yeah, I'm not like Mr. Goal Setter because it's New Year. It's just one of those of kind of like take a step back and assess in terms of like overall, like broad general things, like nothing too specific, like, hey man, you need to go be more proficient with your firearms. Nothing like that. It just might be like an overall thing of like, hey man, stay disciplined, stay focused, like stay on it, stay on the right path, keep your mind right, like hold yourself accountable, like fucking overall, just like toughen up, bitch. That's one of the things I did take from that my 2 week
Your
deployment.
deployment,
My
your
2 week
tour.
deployment, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It was definitely one of those of like, because I ain't gonna lie, you'd see a lot of people that are enlisted that are kind of soft.
I mean, the requirements to get in haven't necessarily been the highest lately.
And people have different duties. Like you don't know if this motherfucker can't fly a drone badass. Like, and there's so many jobs in the military to where it's like, hey, they're probably great at what they do. Like, this gentleman, he might seem a little soft. I mean, but he is a nurse. You know what I mean? Like, just let him.
True, true. Let him do his thing. That's funny you say that because when you said proficient with firearms, that was the first thing I had in mind because I haven't been to a range, dude. Like so I've been in the Austin area now. February, so next week will be our third year. Yeah, we're starting our third year. So we've been here 2 years already. I haven't been to a range once. Like between kids' sports and just all the other things I got going on out here, and I go back and forth to Houston still almost every week. So there's still a lot of just not time to kind of set out. Like that guitar has been in that corner for 2 years. I don't think I've picked it up once, along with other stuff. But it would be really cool that if you kind of jokingly wanted to stick to something, I'd love to get back into marksmanship and whatever. And I bet you I can get I know I can get a good cameraman to follow us around and record some of this content and put it out there, for people as well.
Yeah. There's actually, like, remember we had a Sanderson Tactical.
Yeah.
I'd love to get with him and take it to that next level at some point, right? Where you're doing some Tim Kennedy shit, where they got you probably like getting exhausted first and then like doing some jiu-jitsu shit and then running around with guns. And then there's also Texas Underground Armory. I definitely want to follow up with them because I know they were building a range also.
Yeah, which big listeners of the podcast early on.
And it was shout out to Rhino Cop. And it was just encouraging to see that like I was kind of a good shot. I was kind of had decent aim.
Yeah, for the very first time I started like shooting consistently or regularly, I got the same kind of. Actually, it was from Darius. So Darius, I did the classes and some personal one-on-one training with him. He was like, "Man, it's not, it's actually really good." And all I said was, "I got some really good video game history behind me." He goes, "You say that as a joke, but most people that are really good at first-person shooters or whatever tend to come into a range or a situation with a lot better aim than most people." So,
So
it's a win-win.
So, question: when you would in the video games, is it you're shooting but with a controller?
Yeah.
So you're aiming with the thing and then you're clicking. Okay.
Yeah, you aim with the joystick and then you.
Oh, joystick.
So you aim with the joystick and then you shoot with the trigger. Yeah. If you play on PC, you can actually get like what looks like a whole like a gun, half of it, and then you can shoot with actual, that kind of thing, which is pretty cool.
Damn, that sounds very cool.
I know. Yeah. And then now they're going to have the VR stuff where you can be on the little Oculus treadmills with the vest so you can actually feel the impacts and stuff.
Oculus treadmill.
Yeah, where you're like running around in a circle, but you've got the, you're in one place.
Like a haptic? Is it considered haptic?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the vest is going to be like a haptic feedback. It's pretty cool.
Damn. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Chingo Gaming coming
I, I
2026
feel,
with Oculus.
I feel like it's a CIA psyop to create more freaking mass shooters.
Please don't say that.
Well, because I've never played any of that stuff to understand how desensitized one could get, but
Yeah.
I heard someone make a comment at the Chow Hall. It was like a dude that's like, I don't know his actual title, but he was like way up in the military, and he made a comment where he basically said yeah, when we would do a drone strike on the bad guys, they see the thing flying, so they'd go run under a tree or whatever, and then, remotely drop the payload on that boy. And he's like, and it kind of just looks like a video game. And I was just like, oh, that's why they made the video games like that, so that people can already be desensitized. And then it's just like nothing to do drone strikes or whatever.
Yeah, and
I mean,
I'm
it's
sure
bad
there's-
guys that deserve it, but
Ideally, right?
I mean,
Sometimes depending on who you are.
sometimes you got to walk the legal and just see like, all right, how much what's the word, collateral damage?
Exactly. We could
about
ask
two-
Obama all about that.
About 2-3 motherfuckers. Well, fuck it then.
Yeah, yeah, it is what it is. And I'm sure there's some of this written down somewhere where to kind of help, like, what do you call it, patriotism or like morale in the country. You will have these, whether it's movies or you'll have games or music that kind of gets people to want to maybe join the military, and easier for recruitment, I guess is the best way to put it.
Oh yeah. So hopefully with Pete Hegseth, is that his name? Did I
Yep.
say it right?
You're right. Yeah.
Hopefully from what it looks like his agenda. Not only is they're saying he's investigating General Milley, Mark Milley, the guy who, in my opinion, is kind of treasonous. When it's been reported that he snitched to the ops. He called the CCP. He called China. Was like, hey man, if Trump ever wants to do anything or make a move on Taiwan or anything like that, I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna let you know, fam. I'm gonna let you know. So guess what? That's why they didn't want Pete Hegseth in there, because he's about to not only shape up the military and make it so that we could fix the morale and the recruitment and everything else. Make us killing machines. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? Number one, the golden age, the golden era of America is back.
Because when I was out there for 2 weeks, you know what I'm saying, I kind of absorbed a little bit of the culture. Yeah.
Keeping people what's going on, right?
Yes.
Taking mental notes.
And-
Head on a swivel,
Yeah.
as we used to say.
And now that I'm back home, these normies, they don't understand.
You don't feel like you can re-assimilate to regular society?
I don't know if I can, bro. It's just, you know what I mean? Y'all don't be understanding out here, these normie civilians.
So this is just a broad question, but are there any executive orders that you've either heard rumblings of or maybe read yourself that you're like, oh, I'm really interested to see how this kind of takes place or how it unfolds?
Let me see. It was so many, right? Because I heard.
Yeah, so first day was 20, I believe. I don't know. Since then, I actually have the page pulled up, but they're not numbered, so I don't know exactly how many. I mean, yesterday, like every day, there's at least one. Like yesterday, there was a protecting children from chemical and surgical mutilation, which was the one of yesterday, January the 28th. And then on 27th, you had tons of them. Reinstating service members, right? Restoring America's fighting force. And then, the Iron Dome for America, all kinds of great, executive orders, which people will say, and I'll say for me personally, it's all of the EPA, rolling back some of these, big green scam kind of deals, the EPA, all that kind of stuff. Those are the ones I'm really interested in. Mostly, I say mostly because I love cars. I also do another podcast with about car enthusiast type stuff called Clutch Culture. And what people have to go through in the car manufacturing world here in America is crazy, man. Like other parts of the world don't have to deal with this. Also, our own government doesn't have to deal or have to live up to the same emission standards that they make the citizens live up to. It's crazy. Propping up the EV world with all of these tax incentives. It's really strange, and I think the pendulum is going to swing the other way pretty heavily over the next at least 2 years until the midterms.
Man, that's interesting. I didn't think of I wasn't privy to all the regulatory stuff that, like, I guess the car industry. I mean, I know some of the stuff like oh, you got to get these inspections or like, when you're manufacturing, you might have to do this, that, or the third. But I mean, all the executive orders you just mentioned, they sound pretty clear, cut and dry, common sense to me.
Right.
Like, hey, don't mutilate a kid when they're just kids. Like, I wonder how much.
It's fair.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, woke raza who watches wherever they get their info from, somehow, some way, they're gonna just try to find something negative about everything that man does. Now, he could literally cure cancer, And they'll be like, nah, fool, but what about the cancer doctors? What about the cancer medicine people? What about their jobs, fool? Forgot where you came from, homie. Don't be a sellout. Coconut, whitewash. You're the coleslaw kingpin. You're gringo
It's so
bling.
It's so, which that's actually a cool name, I think.
Yeah, I love it.
But it's so hard to take these people serious because at this point, that the past administration's come and gone. We talked about so much of that for 2.5, 3 years. We're seeing the first 10 days, 12 days of this new administration kind of start to unfold, giving you this kind of positivity that when you see that stuff online, you almost have to say, all right, bot, okay, you acoustic bot. They all sound like literally autistic robots online that are regurgitating stuff that I don't know where they're getting, because even the main quote unquote mainstream legacy media seems to be kind of crumbling with their talking points. Like there's no more, all the sizzle's gone from all the rhetoric.
Well, the only ones the main ones keeping that side alive and propped up are the well-trained, closed-minded Mexican Americans who, pobrecitos, they got probably whatever type of teachers they had, whatever type of education they had. They sound very brainwashed, like they've never really left their hood or their region. And they just feel like this is stolen land. No human is illegal. Everything is racist. All Republicans are white and racist. And it's okay to vote for the Indian lady because somehow she's more for raza. Even though this lady didn't do shit for 4 years. And if you try to reframe it to them, like, hey, bro, we want to see child sex trafficking eradicated. Like, we need a tight border because it's not just raza coming over. Like, you have actual Iranian terror sleeper cells blending in with the hardworking people that just want a better life. But they've been so trained, and I know I kind of was to an extent, but that was a long time ago, and the border wasn't, like when I was Mr. Decanted Portazal, the border wasn't even the way it is now. You know what I mean? Like, even then, you probably could have snapped me out of it if it was like, hey, dog, it's actual literal perverts, criminals, rapists, terrorists, like bad hombres, like Tren de Aragua, cagapalos, Congolese, gangsters. Like, if you had broke it down to me like that way back then, I don't even think that was the case really as much back then. I'm sure, like, we've probably always had terrorists trying to sneak in. I wasn't privy to that information, but I heard a really good point made recently, which is like, it was a Mexican American gentleman who was saying, y'all are so upset about ICE having to come in to your community and extract these really, really bad people that have like warrants back home, DUI, killed 2 people, beat the pregnant wife to death, like bad shit. Got 1,600 fentanyl pills and pistols and shit all in the Denver apartment. Like he was saying, y'all are so upset that they're having to go in to your hood and extract these people. He's like, that's Biden's fault. He's like, they created this situation to where now they're having to do that. Now there's going to be the collateral damage of like, oh no, Mr. Gonzalez, who was minding his business, who just never got his papers in order, and he's just kind of a hardworking dude and doesn't bother nobody and maybe even pays taxes. He got picked up too. He's like, y'all need to be mad at Biden because they let in the onslaught. Like, it wasn't even, oh, sorry, we took our eyes off the border for 4 years. It's like, no, y'all fed 300,000 kids to the trafficking machine. You know what I mean? Like, y'all literally were complicit. Not only did y'all let them in, y'all were trying to figure out the most efficient way to get as many in. Like, y'all hated seeing 10,000 Haitians under the bridge. Like, they banned drones. Like, they banned drones in that case. They can't ban them over New Jersey, but they banned them from getting footage, aerial footage was at the Del Rio sector, like 10, 15,000 Haitians under the bridge. And they created the CBP-1 app to logistically, like Mayorkas put on his little hat, you know which little hat I'm talking about, and was like,
Which day one, that was over. No more CBP-1 app.
Day one, shut that shit down because they were trying to figure out the most efficient, quick way to do. They were flying people undetected in the night, like dropping off 20,000 or so Haitians in small Ohio factory towns. Like my president gave y'all water in the dead of night. You know, in the dead of night, he sent the military to unleash the water so y'all don't have these fire issues. Like we're not the same. Y'all's president was dropping off 20,000 Haitians on your tax dollar dime.
So when we talk about all this stuff, and you bring it up to, or at least it's heard by other people who are more on the, we'll call them lefty liberal kind of side. You know, progress. I don't even know what term to use anymore. Are they progressive? Are they liberal? Are they lefty? Whatever.
Brainwash.
Brainwash for sure. They'll always come from a place of emotion, right? So if we were just to talk about one of these directives, you know, whether it was the one from yesterday, the protect children from chemical surgical mutilation, they can't seem to just take it from a really like common sense perspective. Like let's pause on what historically you think has happened to these marginalized people who think they're in the wrong body. The whole thing. We're talking about kids, like this specific talking about children. And then you start having try to have a conversation with them, and you get to a point, at least I have with some of these people, who are actually kind of somewhat close in proximity to, you know, having grown up with them or whatever, where you see, oh, their morality has gone out the window. And I'm no saint. I'm also not super religious, but there is no moral code. There's no moral compass. So when you hear some of the things that they're kind of aligned with, or they rather be aligned with, you're almost like, man, there are a lot of lost causes in this world. You know, when you let too many things slide, especially when you're just talking about kids. This isn't even talking about defense, budgeting, Doge. No, we're just talking about kids, you know, surgical mutilate, that kind of stuff, sex books or whatever you want to call them, libraries. Like, let's take it one step at a time. The moral compass is out the window. And it's like, so crazy how many people like that are out there.
Like the drag queen story hour.
Starting with that, sure, anything, right? They'll be like, well, you see, like these people, and they try to justify it from all kinds of angles.
Yeah, I wonder what the quote unquote raza stance is on that. Like either they don't know, don't care, or they'll find a talking point to regurgitate. Like, well, what about when the school shooters who are white? Okay. Like somehow they're gonna go to, what about the guy in El Paso who says he was influenced by MAGA rhetoric and it's like, all right, you already lost argument. If you having to use one extreme outlier data point of a crazy person who probably was coached and all the way by the feds up until the point, right? I was like, if you're having to find that one thing, you know, you're just trying to look for anything white people did, you know, or find me a Republican that did something just so I could justify having these grown-ass men in dresses wanting to read to kids.
Dude, what's really interesting, this is kind of a side note here, going around, like, we're outside of Austin, just like I was outside of Houston. I'm not necessarily in the belly of the beast, right? But I'm pretty close to, like, the Mothership, 6th Street, that kind of area. Going down there, or even in surrounding areas, and seeing, like, these tall dudes with dreads and tats having camo Make America Great Again hats on. I'm like, wow. I did not see that one time from 2020 to 2023, right? Or 2024. It's kind of crazy to see. But again, going back to what I said at the top of the show, I think a lot of people are finally out of that, like, I support Trump closet. And I think it's for the best. I think more people are going to be able to do that when they see like common regular folk like them that are saying, you know what, this makes more sense. I'm going to go ahead and support my president, right? My country, right? America first. I don't know what's so bad about saying that.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Hopefully we can get some lefties to listen to this, you know what I mean? Or neutral people, or like people that don't really pay attention to politics, because there's still a lot of fake news out there. Like they already started with the hoaxes. I posted a funny video, in my opinion. Oh, it's the one that Rogan put on his story.
Oh, yeah.
Thankfully, I made the video. Otherwise, Rogan would have never had a chance to put it on his story. It was Theo Juve pointing out the hypocrisy of the you know, what's his name? Elon doing like I send my heart out or whatever.
Yeah,
And then basically Juve was just saying like, mira, first AOC, Hillary, Elon, like what's with the hand mannerisms, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Just kind of showing like lots of people have made these gestures, and boy, it brought out the LA Independent School District raza, boy. It's not the same. Like Elon is clearly a Nazi. He's clearly, I'm like, are you a mind reader? But he supported a thing one time with, his mom's from South Africa, and he's and I'm like, okay, well, can you read AOC's mind, Hillary's mind? Like, so basically you pick and choose, you know, just kind of like,
I encourage those people to do that, honestly, because if you look at all the counties that were lost, especially in California, like there's a lot of new red counties. There's a lot of counties across the country that were gained by, conservatives on the right that were campaigning. And arguably that's why Trump went to California and New York, right? He knew he could make some ground up there with some of these common sense campaign promises or bullet points, talking points, whatever you want to call them. And then you look at what was gained by the left, none. There were actually counties lost. There was areas that were lost by the Harris campaign. So I think the more they keep running their mouth, the better it honestly is for the rest of the country.
Bro, just listen to that. Harris campaign. They ended up in debt. They spent so much money. I don't know who all the people they paid. Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Beyonce. They paid all these people.
Oprah.
Yeah, mismanaged the money, probably laundered most of it. Dumbasses donated to that bullshit. And they literally justified in your face, like, yeah, Biden, he had a bad night at the debate. Sharp as attack. Sharp as attack, yet doesn't have the mental acuity to be charged for his crime from that deposition. But he's still sharp as attack. And when you see him falling asleep, that's a cheap fake. And he's working very hard from the beach in Delaware. And he's not going to be the one running. So it's like, okay, so does he have the mental acuity to be charged for a crime? No, but he can pardon his family, which was not cool if Trump had done it. But also Kamala's passing the torch, and that's cool. But also he's doing a great job because he's in charge, but he's not running.
That's like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible trying to get through the lasers just to play those mental gymnastic games, right? Question for you. What do you think Barron said to Biden when he shook his hand?
I mean, I've heard that he was talking to someone like behind Biden. I don't know. I don't really know. Do you think he really like sent a message like, "Hey, you forgot to pardon yourself"? Do you think he was like, "Hey, fool, like I'm gonna say some shit right now"?
The best thing I could, and again, this is just from my own unprofessional lip reading, right? But you could see, and the first time I saw it, I thought he said, "It's over," or "It's on." One of those two. Because then right after that, he goes to his mom, and she kind of like, grabs his hand and then says, you can almost hear it, "Try to be nice." You can see her say, "Try to be nice." And he just kind of looks back at Biden again, and then looks at his mom. It was like, okay. Was it AI? I doubt it because I've seen the video over and over again. So I thought that was an interesting take or an interesting perspective personally, which I think he probably did subtly kind of say, "It's on now, like it's about to begin." And then his mom's like, "Be nice."
Can you imagine like just the amount of discipline it took that entire family, I mean Trump himself, to be able to be like, "Hey, bro, y'all try to get me whacked on national TV, bro." Like,
and let's say now for people, they're not all saints. We get it. But we're talking about what's unfolded and what they're doing going forward.
And having to like give a nice little speech with them right there saying like, either y'all try to get me whacked or y'all try to have it set up so that I could be whacked, or y'all were hoping I was going to get whacked, or y'all wasn't going to care I was finna get whacked on TV.
Did you watch the inauguration?
I think I might have seen like in chunks and in parts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like election day, midterm day, debate day. It was like the Super Bowl. Like I'm here, I'm trying to work on these two monitors and I have it playing over here. And he came out with the fire from the jump, like you're explaining, right? He's just like, this happened and that happened and the whole assassination attempt and the this, and we're going to do that. The golden age starts now. He just fire from the start. I'm like, wow. That's immediately when he gave that. And I don't know, might be extreme to say, but I think that speech, which I think was maybe 45 minutes, maybe, I don't think it was quite an hour, but it was so impactful in that under an hour that historically we're going to look back on this and say, like, that was the beginning of the revamping of
Golden era.
American excellence.
Yeah, because think about it, bro. I had just came back from Qatar, Kuwait, Abu Dhabi, seeing all these rich people. These, and safe, zero crime. And I was just having to wrap my brain where I'm like, I'm more concerned with my family back home than I am out here. Like, nothing could happen to me out here. You know what I mean? Like, zero shit could go down in Abu Dhabi. And meanwhile, back home, I'm like, lock the doors, make sure you got this, you got that, how the camera's looking, the floodlights, this, the gate, the lock on this. We having to really watch our back over here. Like, I'm over there, but meanwhile, I'm thinking back home is really the combat zone.
Yeah. Well, also you're in the fucking epicenter of all the nonsense. Let's be real. Have a lot of
Houston.
nonsense. Big city, Houston.
Yeah,
You know.
I know, dude. If I have a list of grievances, I have a love hate relationship, and if all our family didn't live here, it'd be like, man, let's get a little breathing room. Like, who wants mosquitoes and traffic and you got freaking Lena Hidalgo and just a bunch of goofy stuff.
Yeah.
Just the way it's mismanaged.
I hope that people start to really just kind of, even if they don't do it publicly, like maybe they're not going to go online and start posting their positive praises for Trump or this administration or even anything that they do over the next, 2 to 4 years. And I say 2 years because once midterms hit, that's people start campaigning. There's a lot of things that start happening, moving on to the next election that you forget, or what happened in the prior 2 years are kind of already come and gone and whatever. So at least hopefully people start to kind of get it. You don't say it publicly, but if you're listening to this, pass it on to a friend or a family member or whatever. We're just trying to bring up the top. All we're doing really is we're reading what's going on and we're unpacking it the way we see it. And we're unpacking it the way that people that listen to the show or people that live around us are kind of telling us their opinions of.
And we don't hate America, and we want America to like kick
That's number one.
ass, and be number one. Let me say this before I forget. Trump has been floating around the idea of getting rid of the IRS and creating the External Revenue Service. So his pitch is, we were our wealthiest back when we would utilize tariffs, charge countries to be able to participate in American markets, American commerce. And it doesn't make sense to tax the citizens to enrich other countries. He's like, let's tax other countries to enrich the citizens. And I challenge any lefty, any raza, Democrat, close-minded, TDS, anti-Trumper, never-Trumper, to please tell me that's a bad thing, because they're already doing it. The bots and the brainwashed people. Oh, I see none of y'all understand how a country works. Y'all don't know how government works. Good luck getting your streets paved. Good luck getting and it's like, first of all, our streets ain't shit as it is.
Those Houston streets suck, man.
Yeah.
I hate driving. My car's suspension's ruined just from going to downtown all the time.
And taxes be high as shit because you got a whole bunch of illegals in the schools, which we got to pay for.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the topics I've been nerding out here recently too, is just really understanding the fundamentals of how tariffs worked, how they worked from the 1800s to, the early 1900s. There's a lot to it, right? I think the way I've read it, the way I've heard it explained, it can work, it can be done, but once global trading has gotten to the point that it is today, it is really hard to say we're just going to tariff everybody and we're just going to, on a drop of a dime, kind of change things. But you can start putting pressure on. You can start implementing things in America. You can slow roll that stuff out to where eventually it starts to make sense again. It's really fascinating. If it's a bot or somebody you actually know that's just saying like, oh, good luck with the tariff, blah, you don't know how economies work. All right, okay, I'll just go ahead and surrender that thought. You're right. But I'm educating myself and trying to get good formulated thoughts on how it works, and it can be done. It was done prior. To say it won't work is just stupid.
Yeah. Basically, it's just weird to me that people are cucking for the IRS. Like, dog.
Yeah.
Like, dog, listen to yourself. Y'all hate Trump so much that you're actually sitting there trying to make this argument of like, hey, fool, like, you got to pay the fucking taxes. You got to get taxed to death. It's like, come on, dog.
How many times you taxed on a single dollar that you earn, man? Like, imagine how much you could do with money that the government takes from you every year.
Yeah, they say you work about 4 months out of the year just for the government.
Yeah,
and that,
I know some.
And that Americans, last point, that Americans are like some of the most taxed people on earth.
Yeah, no, of course. And, I'm sure you know these people. Chingo's probably one of these people who make a certain amount to where you're taxed so heavily. You're like, why am I doing all of this? Why am I putting all this effort into it? And it really does de-incentivize people to work harder and want to progress up the economic ladder when you're being taxed to death. I know a banker who runs a big bank in California. He's taxed at almost or just over 50%.
Half your money.
If you're making $3 million, $5 million or whatever, and you're paying over half in taxes, that's fucking crazy.
Highway robbery.
Bruh. But yeah, man, there's a lot to unfold right now. I pulled up RFK Jr.'s, they have the Senate or the confirmation hearings going on right now. So the next time we talk, I don't know how long, you want to do the podcast for as far as time wise. We're about to hit an
Yeah,
hour.
yeah, we could
You,
wrap
you
up.
know they're going to rip his ass a new one for all kinds of comments he's made about the jab. And you got Tulsi coming up. It's just going to be really interesting.
Those are the main ones that they don't want approved for a lot of reasons. They're hell
Cash Patel,
bent.
obviously.
Yeah, him too. They're hell bent on these picks because the Trump 2.0 administration is not the same like the first one. And I also heard, and I agree, that if they hadn't stolen, are we allowed to say that? We allowed to say that? If they hadn't
apparently.
stolen, if they hadn't stolen the 2020 election, there wouldn't have been mass deportations. There were talks of amnesty, and it almost like worked out that they stole it and fucked everything up for 4 years because now they could come in Trump 2.0, still a little too moderate for my taste, but be able to come in like the bull in the China shop.
China shop.
Yeah, like come in and wreck shit. Like Doge, we slashing shit. Y'all done taking advantage of us.
Did you see how much money was about to go over to Gaza for condoms?
Was it 50 million or 37
50
million?
million. I'm like, okay, I want to read into that. Like, what all did that pertain to? That's crazy.
Bro, I'm watching this documentary about all that, and
Yeah.
I don't know what your stance is on Gaza and Israel.
Is it on Rumble, I'm guessing?
The what?
Is it on Rumble?
Did you see it?
No, but I heard about
Oh
it.
man, it is a little graphic, bro.
Yeah?
It's graphic.
Oh, man.
It's heavy.
Did you watch Sound of Freedom?
Yes.
I heard it was incredible. I didn't get around to watching it. Now I feel like a bad American for not watching it.
Yeah.
But I heard that was also a very, makes you tugs at the heartstrings.
Yeah, it's kind of the subject matter is disgusting. You know
Right.
what some of these people are out there involved with and doing. So it kind of does make your blood boil. But it's a good movie. You know, it follows a story of a particular case where basically the gentleman who I guess it's based. What's his name? Tom or I forget his name.
I forgot his name.
Yeah, one of the main producers of the movie. But anyway, like in the department he was in, he wasn't allowed or able to do his job, so he kind of had to do it like freelance style to actually be able to go in and bust people and save kids.
Who played the? Was it the? It wasn't Caviezel, was it?
Yeah.
It was, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me. He's coming out with a sequel. I mean, they're making the follow up. Mel Gibson's making a follow up to Passion of the Christ.
I heard.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It should be good.
Yeah,
The Resurrection. I think they're gonna call
I
it.
never saw the first one.
You didn't see Passion of the Christ? Mm-mm. Wow.
No.
You should watch it.
Okay. Yeah. I've just heard it's like just brutal.
Yeah, for sure. What was I going to ask? Oh, real quick. I know we're going to round out the hour here, but give me your thoughts for listeners, what you said about it kind of worked out because I agree with you that Trump didn't win and some fuckery was afoot during 2020 in order to have this kind of happen after all of the, downturn. Like what do you, I honestly do believe that. I think you're right, but how do you put those two? How do you connect the dots in your brain where you're like, man, I guess that needed to happen? Was there some kind of higher power at play here to make all this kind of unfold?
I don't know. I guess maybe that's just the way the cookie crumbled, right? Like the way it unfolded. Whether it's like God knew what he was doing and was like, nah, we're gonna let them take a shot at him and he's gonna turn his head at the right time. I can't even imagine what would have happened if that had transpired. Like all of a sudden CNN want to have their cameras there and MSNBC want to be all, oh, we want to film this one. We're going to Butler, Pennsylvania. We're going to film this one. It's like, you ain't been filming a lot of them from my knowledge.
Many coincidences.
But I mean, I don't know if they were privy or had a heads up, but all of a sudden we really haven't heard much about it and we don't know shit about the killers and something's stinking to high heaven with that one. But I feel like it's interesting that like, this go around seems a little different than the first time. Like he kind of maybe watches his back better in terms of like the sellout rhinos, the backstabbers. It just seems like they're firing a lot more people and just like slashing, not cutting nobody no slack, taking away security detail from some of these suckers where he kind of got hit with the, the pandemic. That's one of my concerns is, okay, they're coming in, they're cleaning up shop, they're cutting waste, executive orders. He's trying to get all his people approved. Please don't try to unleash another bioweapon.
Right.
to
Right.
throw
Well,
to throw a monkey wrench in the whole operation where they're not going to be able to focus on everything they're trying to focus on.
Well, yeah. So the things that he's focusing on, he's running a lot of or releasing a lot of executive orders, and this is what people will say too. And I guess I'll leave you with this: they will tell you if you're talking about executive orders, well, they're going to get challenged. Okay, possibly, right? But it's not like they get challenged and immediately they don't. They're no longer executive orders. They're executive orders, and immediately they take place right when he signs them into essentially law. There can be constitutional or Supreme Court type court rulings that they file injunctions for, or appeals for, or whatever. But all those things take time. You're talking about weeks to months to potentially years if it has to get up to the Supreme Court. At that point, you're reaching midterm time anyway. So let's see if we can get some good things done. And by the times that those things go to the Supreme Court or appeals or whatever, hopefully all the good has come out of whatever the executive orders are. So don't let people discourage you by saying like, oh, they're going to get challenged. Like, okay, you think it just happens from one day to the next? No, like it's executive order. It's a law. It happens. And then down the line, months or years, it could be challenged.
I mean, overall, I'm just very happy with like the cultural shift. Steak and Shake moving to beef tallow, to where hopefully someone else, the other burger joints will follow. They banned, what is it? Yellow number, red number, one of these.
3, I think, was it?
One
3
of
or
these,
30?
yeah, one of those things. If they can start cleaning up that shit, high fructose corn syrup. I mean, just let RFK do his thing. Like these vaccinations, bro. Like it's so scary. Anyone listening, if y'all have kids, y'all, obviously y'all know other people that have kids, and it's just such a concern. Like seeing the rates of autism and all these issues. Like I can't wait to just see all his picks. Cash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, everybody get to work and start letting things unfold so that the cultural shift can happen. For example, the executive order about banning the child mutilation, the chemical castration, and all this other type of stuff, to where hopefully people can start being like, yeah, why were we allowing that for so long? And it's like, I don't know how long that time period was where it just ran rampant of like seeing the pictures of little girls cutting chunks of their arm just so they could have a wee-wee and things like that. To where it's kind of like, look at how crazy y'all were letting these libtard mothers, do their Munchausen syndrome, like just brainwashing, gaslighting, going along. The celebrity moms that are like, my 2 African boys that I adopted from Kenya happen to be trans.
Hey, just because we're on the subject, honestly, it's about celebrities. I got to get your take on Selena Gomez's, ugly cry video.
Don't know what I just, my people, my people, my people. Bro, it's just so phony to me. I mean, John Leguizamo, hey, all my people, hey, Latinos, you're not criminals like Donald Trump says, and it hurts me. Your brown bodies being, it's like, hey, bro, you could drop the shtick, dog. Like, honestly, like a part of me in the back of my mind is like, I mean, I wasn't always on the conservative side or whatever, but part of me is kind of like, I don't think I ever could have jived or been accepted by Latino Hollywood, regardless of what meetings I had or what role I did where I got noticed, or when you got Edward James almost giving you props, or Lou Diamond Phillips giving you props, like people giving you props, like, yo, hey man, so you ain't ever did this before, like, oh shit, hey dude, you could probably be like the next guy type of thing. And then you see this type of behavior and it's like oil and water, bro. Like hopefully there's a shift in filmmaking, in Hollywood. 50 Cent, if you're watching this, Jim Caviezel, Eduardo Verastagi, like, who else? Sorbo,
Kevin Sorbo.
yeah, like the Hollywood, Mel Gibson, the ambassadors to Hollywood. If you're watching this, tell me where to apply. Where can I send a tape? I want to audition for some shit. Plus, I'm trying to get, I'm trying to get into the role where maybe I could be in the Mayans, or maybe I could play a little soldier or something. Maybe they need a little blue belt that could kind of shoot.
Have you seen the video? Or it's like an ad where it's like Matthew McConaughey, I think it's Woody Harrelson, Dennis Quaid, and they're all doing like this ad for Bring Hollywood to Texas.
No,
You haven't seen it, dude? I got to send it to you. It's a pretty long commercial. They're like, I think it looks like a scene of a movie,
it
but Dennis
should.
Quaid's in the back in
Yeah,
handcuffs, and you got McConaughey and Woody Harrelson in the front, and they're just describing why all the money should be coming to Texas and why Hollywood should be coming to. They got all this land. There's so many sceneries. You could shoot all the kinds of different. And it's just a really well put together ad. I'm sure, and you'll read the comments, and people will be like, "No, keep that out of Texas. Like keep all these liberal, aspects out of
yeah,
Texas or whatever." Which I
yeah.
understand, but I thought it was interesting, man. Like you've been talking about this since before I think we even did RPT. Was before it was even a
I
thing.
mean, the comedy game. A lot of the big players are here. You
Well, a
know.
lot of the players are here.
Yeah, yeah, in Austin. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Chingo needs to be in Austin more often.
Maybe mention it to my wife. Try to make some time to get out there, juggling a bunch of shit. But yeah, that definitely is one of my goals. Like on the comedy side, for example, the military base run, that showed to me that with my act and my performance and my material, you could drop me off in front of a crowd who has no idea who I am. There was like a handful of like, hey, I'm from Laredo. What's up, fool? My uncle used to bump your shit or whatever. But these are kids. These are like college, for the most part, they're like college age kids. And not most of them, a lot of them not Latino. So you can't come out just, hey, orale, remember the tortillas, right? The chancla, right? Am I right? Right? This guy knows. Hey, this guy knows. He knows what's up. Hey, right? You can't pull none of that shit. So that gave me the encouragement of like, and even performing for Eddie Bravo's crowd in Jiu-Jitsu Overdose, like these aren't just a bunch of drunk Mexicans in Brownsville, Texas. Like, orale, we want to see Chingo Bling. It's like you're getting dropped off in these scenarios. So one of my little mental goals is like, all right, bro, if and when you happen to perform, like let's say you bump into you're hanging with Sam Tripoli, he's in Austin, and we're about to go meet up with Brian Callen or Schaub or somebody, and it's like, oh, we're headed to the mothership, and Rogan's there, and he's like, hey, you want to do 5-10 minutes? That's where I want everything to culminate. Even if it's just a mental thing where it's like, dude, it's not all about Joe Rogan, but I want to be able to be like, get off stage and have like Ron White, Roseanne Barr, Mark Norman, Tony Hinchcliffe, these people be like, hey, bro, where the fuck you from? Has Joe seen you? Where the fuck you from? How long you been doing this shit? That's
Yeah,
that's where I want to be to.
we'd be joking ourselves, and anybody listening that doesn't fully understand and agree with the fact that a lot of the times it is just who you know, right? You could know a lot about one particular thing, a lot about a lot of things, but if nobody gives you the in, nobody cracks the door open, nobody cracks the window open, it's really hard to break through to anything. Business, professional life, careers in corporate America, entertainment, music, doesn't matter. So yeah, man, I totally agree. Like we've heard plenty of stories where, this guy knew Santino or this guy knew Callan, right? This guy, or in jiu-jitsu, like I knew this guy from this school. Next thing you know, I'm helping him run the school. Next thing you know, I have my own franchise of the school. All these different aspects, college is important, education is important, but you got to be making some relationships along the way too.
Yeah, you got to stay in the mix and also show and prove once you do get those opportunities.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, I
Otherwise,
guess
otherwise, otherwise, you're just a lame ass dude that Callan met one day, and then that was it. You know what I mean?
yeah, I'm that lame ass dude he met one time. Here, I'm going to bring this up for people that are listening or watching on YouTube.
Yeah, there it is.
JingoBling.com.
Up next, Plano, Texas. We have Caldwell, Texas, Tacoma. More links to come. And also, we got the What Did He Said Instagram page cracking again. Give us a follow because a lot of my fans are sensitive. And if I post half the shit that I want to post on my regular Real Chingo Bling Facebook or Instagram, someone's going to be like, you're not the Tamale King. You better not. You can't speak Spanish no more, fool, because you voted for Trump.
I wish you had kept posting on that page, man. I mean, you posted a video, you got like 50,000 views on the first one. It'd been dormant for almost 2 years.
Yeah, because it was just one of those things where it's like, look, we got a lot of shit going on, and it just didn't really feel that fruitful. Where it's like we're taking all these chances, we're taking all these risks, we're making all this investment, time and energy, and the amplify. It felt like all the hate was just so amplified. Where it just felt like I think we might be kind of wasting our time, like talking to a brick wall, like. And again, hopefully there's a big cultural shift with this administration, Trump 2.0, because it just seemed like whether it was during the Biden administration trying to point out the bullshit that they're not doing or that they're doing, it's falling on deaf ears. Or if it was Trump 1.0 and you're trying to show like what they're trying to do, all they could say is he's mishandling the pandemic and everyone's dying and blood is on his hands. And then Biden wins, and then they take the number off of CNN, and then we shift gears, and it's like, all right, everything's open. Open it up.
It just really feels like America just had a big sigh in December.
Yeah.
What are you working on real quick before we go? Do you have any new music people can expect this year? You got a special, the tour, obviously. What do you got cooking?
Yeah, I'm trying to cook up all those things, and of course, there's like a lot of moving parts. Working on like a greatest hits album.
Ooh.
I would like to do like an unplugged, like an acoustic EP or something, but realistically, I think it's like do the greatest hits first, and then also when it comes to like on the comedy side, I do want to film a special for YouTube. That just kind of has, there's a lot of moving parts with that, so definitely want to make it a goal, but you really just got to focus on it, and probably gonna need some help. I mean, we have scripts for like a web series. It's just executing. Sometimes you need a little bit of help. And I had a meeting with my music distributor yesterday, and they're just like, "Hey, why haven't you dropped off any like comedy albums?" And it's just like, well, I guess I gotta kind of just see what material I want to put out there, and then you kind of gotta like record it. But one of my comedy buddies was like, "Dude, you should just focus on the visual version for YouTube and then maybe take that audio and give it to them. Like, don't, because in my mind, it's like, oh, I could just tape some shit and, pull 20 minutes out and call it like a little comedy EP.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool, man. I remember back in the day, like early Pandora days, having like the Cat Williams stuff and the Kevin Hart stuff, all the different specials that were on there. Where it was actually pretty enjoyable, just almost like a podcast, listening to the stand up. And I know before that, obviously the audio portion was cool, but yeah, what would be cool too is if you brought back the unplugged stuff, but you did it like in the old MTV style, where the set looked like it was like Nirvana doing an unplugged set, or Pearl Jam, something like that in the '90s. Which, by the way, I'm seeing Metallica and Pantera in Houston this summer, and I thought to myself the other day, I was like, I wonder if Chingo is still, dug into any of the old metal stuff.
I haven't in a while, but I'm always down. Didn't one of the guys from Pantera die or something?
Well, Dimebag, the guitarist, yeah, was the longest ago that died. But they have Zakk Wylde playing guitar, so Ozzy's old guitarist, and yeah, it's pretty cool because it's crazy because Phil, the singer for Pantera, has been sober for a long time now, and they're just now getting back out there on tour. So I don't know if they're co-headlining, but to open up for Metallica, and then they're touring with Limp Bizkit too. So it's like Metallica, and either on the Metallica tour you get Limp Bizkit one night or you get Pantera one night. So we just happened to get the tickets in Houston where it's going to be Metallica and Pantera, and I'm like, dude, my wife got it for my birthday last year,
wow.
So pretty excited.
What venue?
I want to say it's at NRG.
Oh wow, that's a big fucking place.
Gonna be cool.
Yeah. You mentioned would you say Clean and Sober?
Yeah.
Dude, I haven't drank in a long time. I mean, as long as I've known you, I wouldn't. I mean, for years, I don't get fucked up like at all.
Yeah.
And if anything, the only thing I might do is like maybe one little glass of red wine, or maybe like sip one shot of tequila. But it just I can't afford to be off kilter or hungover or anything. And then when I was overseas, I couldn't take no weed with me, so that was a good
detox.
Yeah, because I haven't really smoked at all since then. So it's definitely one of those like habits where I would tell myself like, man, I sure want to give my lungs like a little break, and like, damn, man, how do I just feel like at this point you just start feeling like, man, I just kind of need it as I scratch my neck.
Yeah, right. Fiending for it.
Yeah, so now I'll just do like oil drops, like CBD mixed with THC, just a couple drops, and before bed, or a couple drops here and there. But that's about it.
You need to start doing ice baths and try to like meditate, some Kundalini yoga and shit.
I'm down with meditation. Ice baths.
No? What if we could get you a sponsor that sent you a chiller and a tub and everything?
Oh man, yeah. If you do that, shit, that's a whole other story. That's a whole another.
Dude, as a matter of fact, here, before I know I've already said this like 5 times before I let you
Yeah.
go, but I'm going to write this down. I'm going to, boom, get Chingo a cooler. I'm going to get you a fucking ice bath sponsor, hopefully.
Hey, at this point, anybody is listening, hello, is this thing on? Is anyone listening? At this point, hey man, we'll take any kind of fucking sponsor at this point. At this point,
Dude, I swear I could just keep
I've
talking.
been
It's been so long.
blackballed
It's
for so
nice
many
to
fucking
catch up.
years.
Yeah, well, you know,
Blackballed by my own people.
it was either this or go the Diddy road. So I don't know what you'd rather
Hey,
do.
you know, and I'm not a fan of baby oil, so. Oh yeah, if you haven't heard that story or that joke on stage, definitely come to this year's show.
Yeah, no, for sure. Anything in Austin or San Antonio? Okay, here, October. All right, I guess I'll wait till October.
Where? Cap City?
And yeah, no, that's Laugh Out Loud.
Oh, okay, San Antonio. Yeah.
Yeah. Badass, man. Any other, since we're on the What Did He Said feed, what other podcasts are you dropping on this feed for listeners?
Well, Cafecito Time has its own feed, but I kind of want to put them on here also. That's one with me and my wife Marisol. And then anything that's like non-political, like say we're just like interviewing someone, you know, maybe just call that one What Did He Said? Put it on there. Just those are like the main things.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you guys want more from me and you're like, hey, where's Rob been? Clutch Culture Podcast. I have a buddy, a good friend, good business mentor and business owner that is into car collection curation. He's managed and curated huge collections around the United States. Clutch Culture Podcast, talk about the car world, the car markets, these crazy bubbles, new used cars. He was just at Barrett Jackson in Scottsdale. Huge collection where I think the Seinfeld car was there, where he turned down like $25 million for that Porsche that he was, had up there. Mike Rowe's old classic Dodge was there. I think it went for millions for charity. It's a cool podcast. He knows a lot about the industry. So yeah, Clutch Culture Podcast if you like cars. And I'm going to try to weave in some of this EPA stuff and the environmental stuff on that side of the podcast.
And IG, where can they follow you on IG?
Rob GTV, and then Clutch Culture Pod everywhere, Instagram, YouTube, and then TikTok. Dude, I hate that app. That app is the worst.
Really? Okay.
It just never pops off for some reason. Like, I guess because it's a new channel, I don't know, but you'll get like 40,000 views and then one for like 5 days in a row.
Yeah. I just.
What about you? Where are you most active for everybody?
Oh, I have to post everywhere consistently, like all the time. So if, like, let's just say Juve roasts some Bad Bunny or somebody, that's gonna go everywhere. TikTok. I have like 2 Facebooks. You know, it's one of those things where 2 YouTubes because my other YouTube, that whole thing happened. So this is like my 3rd TikTok. So it's a pain. I'm juggling 2 phones and shit. It's a whole other job.
Well, what can we tell listeners about RPT? How often do you want to do this? You want to give them just one a week? We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think one a week is cool. And also, expect to see like a lot of clips chopped up out of here. And but yeah, I just feel like the timing is good. Got my studio somewhat situated and just life kind of in order to where it's like, all right, let me see if Rob is down. To where we can just get together virtual. It's not ideal, considering that we're kind of doing it remote. But I think maybe there's a lot to talk about. I feel like when it comes to all this politics stuff. I mean, there's a lot happening at a rapid pace. A lot of this stuff seems like it has really potential to have positive effects, things that can affect people in a real way. Even all this stuff about the ICE. Maybe next week we'll really focus a lot on just what Tom Homan and ICE and Trump and everybody is doing, who that's affecting, how, why. I mean, we could sit here and we could always start the show with like, okay, they caught this pedophile, this terrorist, this MS-13 guy. Oh, this guy was making pipe bombs. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's from Honduras. This fool right here is from Iran. He did this and that. They caught him in Denver. ICE, Newark, New Jersey. There's like a Twitter page I can try to find and show you where they have like, here's an example of like the worst 10 that we caught today type of thing. Just so that people can get some facts and not let the fear mongers do what they do. Like, they ran into a school and they're looking for kids, Mexican kids, specifically Mexicans. And it's like, nah, dog, stop lying.
Yeah, that propaganda is everywhere right now. They're apparently at every Ross, in the country. They're at every Dollar General. I swear I'm seeing those posts.
Hey, I mean, I don't mind my my hospital waiting room being a little empty.
And a little safer.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, we
All right, bro, so
appreciate it. Thank you, man.
take care. I'll stop it. Don't leave yet. I'm just gonna stop it. Adios, everybody.
See y'all next week. Peace.